This is not a ride-sharing video. What up, folks? Once again, it's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Today, we're going to try to have a more fun program of sorts. I heard this from some of my right-wing detractors, seen it in the comment section. Certainly was a cause for humor, but we're going to tackle it on today's show. I just want to get the opinion of the folks. As always, you know what I always say, this is indeed a MAGA friendly program. I do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. But just for shits and giggles today, since it is a fairly slow news day, we're going to ask the question, because I saw someone state this, that this country would be far better off without Democrats. So we're going to be tackling the question just for shits and giggles, just for the fun of it. What would America be like if there were no Democrats, no liberals, no left-leaning progressives in this sovereign country? What would America be like? Would it be a better country? Would it be far more united? Would it be better for all? Now, I understand for some of you folks, because this came up during my commentary before. Unfortunately, I'm wearing a bad color for the comments, so I'll try to hold this up, or better yet, I'll put something up, because I understand sometimes the comments can be hard to read if I'm wearing a crazy-ass color. I don't know any other way to solve that. But that's the question we're asking. What would America be like if there were no Democrats in this country? And I see in the comments, Designed to Fail says this is boring. America would be boring without Democrats. Would it be a better country, though? How about crime? How about in terms of self-responsibility? How would this country be if we did not have any progressives, left-leaning liberals, or Democrats in the country? Just all conservatives, folks who had that type of mindset. Looking in the comments, we are the people of believe that we are not happy. I don't get that one, Jimmy. We are the people of you believe that we are not happy. No clue what you're trying to say there. We would have fatter paychecks with less programs taxing us that I will never use anyway. So you believe that if the country was void of Democrats, you would earn more money and you would have less programs that are, so in other words, entitlement programs. Yeah, some folks would say that. I don't know if I totally agree, but we'll go straight to the box. I want to see what you guys think. No liberals, no progressives, no Democrats in America. That is our country. Would it be better off for all? Looking in the box, Big Ivy. Welcome back to the program. Hey, folks, tap the screen. Get your book to 5,000 likes. No Democrats. A lot of my right-wingers like this shit. Good afternoon, Big Ivy.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going without Democrats. What do you think?
I think there'd be less crime on the streets because Democrats always pushing the other way. Get
So,
rid of cops.
well, when you think about it, though, if like for instance, let's say the Joe Biden crime bill, the war on drugs from the Nancy Reagan, Ronald Reagan era, which was very tough on crime. Do you think that limited crime, the war on drugs?
The war on drugs, I don't think it did much to drugs.
Okay. Well, the
Maybe a
reason
little
I'm
bit.
asking you
Maybe a
that,
little bit.
the reason I'm asking you that, you said Democrats are soft on crime and, like you said, getting rid of police and things like that. Whereas the war on drugs was the exact opposite, but yet you're saying it didn't have any real effect.
No, but nowadays you got Democrats opening up drug centers where people can go shoot up and making heroin and methamphetamines legal, almost legal. Where
So
you can just do it. You can
let's
carry so
take the
much on you.
Fair enough. So let's take the Democrats out. Let's take out the meth and shoot up centers. What do you think if a person is hooked on drugs or using drugs? What do you believe should be done with them? Let's take the centers and the Democratic mindset out of it. What do you believe should be done to that person?
I think often rehab, that'd be good for them, if they want to do that, or jail time.
Okay. Who's going to pay for the rehab?
The state, I guess.
Isn't that an entitlement program,
Government.
though? Wouldn't
Yeah,
that
but
be that's somebody who chose voluntarily to get hooked on drugs and now are demanding your tax money in a rehab to help them get their life straight when you went out and got a job and abided by the law and did not do that. You're okay with your money going to that?
maybe, yeah. See, you're not always, people don't always just volunteer and get hooked on drugs. You know,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have operations and you get pills and you get hooked on pills.
Okay, but what about, as you mentioned, heroin, cocaine? You mentioned some hard drugs. You didn't mention
Yeah.
opioids. You were talking about heroin.
All right. Never mind. Gotcha.
You know it's always good, Big Ivy.
Yeah.
So, but you're saying that the war on drugs is not effective. So I asked you what should be done. You said either rehab or putting them in jail. But you're also admitting that when we did have a huge push, particularly during the war on drugs, to put a lot of drug users in jail, you're admitting that was ineffective.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So
You
your
got
whole argument that Democrats, if you get rid of Democrats, crime would go away. I don't see how that seems to be coinciding with what you're actually saying now.
Well, you're getting fentanyl coming across the border, and you know the border. Everybody knows it's Democrats being soft on them because they're getting like 2.5 million a year now coming across them, like a million. We don't know who the hell it is coming across.
Well, in regards to Democrats being soft on the border, because that certainly comes up, more often than not, particularly under Joe Biden. How do you respond to the fact that George W. Bush promoted having immigrants come here because they quote unquote do jobs no Americans want, or the fact that Ronald Reagan gave tens of thousands of illegals amnesty during his time?
I believe you can only let so many people in at a time to get with Americans and learn how we are, or you just shove everybody in there and nobody, gets talks or communicates.
Yeah, but how do you decide what is quote unquote too many? Because I'm giving you, actual historical references of how, both Bush and Reagan let people in. So what do you use to decide what is too many of them?
Like 250, wasn't it 250,000 that we started it out as
Mhm.
the immigration system? Only
Okay.
having so many come in at a time.
We say that again. You broke up.
Didn't they let so many in at a time, like so many a year?
Yeah, well, the thing is, whatever number they've been letting in, there's been a steady push to reduce that under every administration, whether you're talking Obama, whether you're talking Biden, even under the Trump administration, there has always been a push to reduce that number under every administration. People have been claiming that too many of them are coming in.
Yeah, way too
So,
many. You can't. They
yeah.
can't assimilate.
Yeah, but that's the question. Who decides what the actual number of folks coming in is? Because some folks would say even one is too many.
We can only bring in so much at a time, just like we can only print money so much at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. But the money situation, we know that's a whole different thing. But fair enough, Big Ivy. I gotta move it on. You know how we do it. Good talk.
We'll see you later.
Absolutely. And that's what we're talking about. MAGA friendly zone. We do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. We're asking the question for shits and giggles. Slow news day, very slow news day. For shits and giggles, what would America be like without any Democrats, no left leaning progressives? Essentially, I would say getting rid of the woke community. However, there's a hell of a lot of wokeness on the right side of the aisle as well. We just do not refer to it as being woke. But getting rid of progressives, Democrats, left leaning liberals, eradicating that out of this country. What would America be like if you got rid of Democrats? Looking in the comments, horrifying, says Josie Wells. All right, fair enough. When does the no liberal start? Says, I don't think it'll ever be a reality because there's even folks who routinely vote Republican that are in favor of some liberal ideas. There are Republicans that are in favor, for instance, of legalizing marijuana. There are Republicans that are in favor of same-sex marriage. There may be a few of them, although very minute, that are friendly to the transgender community. But you'll never get rid of liberals completely. But we just wanna run it by to see what the folks would actually think if, for some reason, this sort of fantasy world was able to exist here in the United States. Going back to the box. We'll keep it moving. We'll go straight on to. I always like the interesting names, the names I don't tend to forget very easy. Unglued Dago Media. Let's make it happen. Okay, fair enough. Dago Media. Wow. Good afternoon. I won't even call you by your middle name, but good afternoon. Wow.
Good, brother.
So, hey, good to have you on. So no liberals, no Democrats. What is this country like?
It's going to be terrible, man. We need people to challenge us. It's good to have people on both sides because then the logical people will think a medium. If you're a Democrat and I'm a Republican and we sit down and talk, there's things that you're going to come up with that I might not think of. And that it bases down to an individual. It doesn't matter because not all, like you said, not all Democrats think the same. Not all Republicans think the same.
Right. Well, in the comments, I want to ask you this because you made an interesting point. Looks like it says Victoria stated that Jesus was a liberal. Based on what we've been taught in regards to Jesus, I don't know how religious you are, maybe not, but do you see any validity that Jesus might have had a liberal mindset?
I mean, Jesus was a belief, and a belief is something that we don't know or see that we just grab onto.
Okay. So when you say it was a belief, it's just a mindset we grab onto. So in other words, Jesus was not real, is what you're saying.
Well, because there's nothing. That's the difference between that's what a belief means. It's like you have no knowledge. It's just something inside you is reaching. You're like, I feel this. Like people say, like they were struck by God in church, and like they feel him. Like there's something that grabs a hold of them, and they can't explain it. That's why it's a belief.
But what about the teachings in the Bible? Do those come from a liberal side of the aisle, or they seem more conservative?
Man, whoever was in control at the time, because to me, the Bible, like, I believe there's something out there, but the Bible was written by men, and all men tell fish tales. If me and you go fishing, brother, and I caught a fish that was 10 inches, I'm telling my friends I caught a fish that was 22 inches. It's just something to make the story better, to grasp the mind, to get people to listen.
You know, my ex-wife used to tell me my measurement capabilities were off somewhat too, so I get that. I do understand that. So you do believe that we do need a more balanced environment. But what about folks who are suggesting that the LGBT community, for instance, and not necessarily being a member of the LGBT community, but the mindset that they promote on to the public. You see what they're doing in Florida, saying that they're indoctrinating children and things like that. If you get rid of the liberals, would it be a good thing for that stuff they're complaining about to go away?
I think the problem with this country is labels. There should be no, now hear me out. There should be no women rights, black rights, this rights, that rights. We all have human rights. It should all be the same. The problem is it's not. Now it just comes to, like, me and you growing up, we're about the same age. There's always going to be a fight when you talk about religion and football.
Who do you got? I got money on Philadelphia. You think Kansas gonna hold it?
No, I think the Eagles gonna take it.
All right. Okay, well then my money is good because I actually do have money on it. Then I feel a bit more confident now. But I do agree that there are hot topics that can lead to that. But in regards to your point about not having labels, I guess to some degree our country has always done that, right?
Well, it preaches separation because you're putting people in groups. Like, I don't know why everybody needs to keep asking, like, do you support me? Like, I'm a grown man. I got 3 kids. I support my own family. I don't care at the end of the day what you think about me because I'm going to get it done. And the reason why I asked to join is I found it offensive. I know the guy wasn't being bad or like rude, but you can't tell people they can't come in. This is what our country was founded on, was immigrants.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
think there should be a process, period.
Well, but we have always had a history of mistreating immigrants. You hear folks talk about the Irish slaves or the way. I mean, your middle name, for instance, is part of
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, yes.
So, yeah, so we've always had a history of, I don't know what it is about the English that colonized this country, but the moment they came here, defeated the Native Americans, they became a group of people who were anti-outsiders, and that has remained the whole time. We don't like outsiders at all.
Because they wanted that land for themselves. They were like, we conquered it, we took it, we don't want no one else.
Fair enough. Last question before I move it on. You were mentioning about not being a fan of labels. Right now, in the month of February, this is typically labeled Black History Month. How do you feel about that label?
I mean, to me, I would find it.
Take your time. Take your time.
I would find it disrespectful that you just gave me a day or a month. Like, it shouldn't be a month. It should be ingrained in everyday education growing up. Like, we should know both sides of the playing field that happened in our history books.
Have you been to Florida recently?
Probably about 2 years ago.
Because they don't agree with any of that shit.
Well,
they don't agree with any of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love listening to you, brother, because you're on a level, man, where you just let people talk and get both sides, and you hear what people have to say, and you're not a D-bag about it. Like, you have the most civil conversations, brother, that I've seen on TikTok, and I think I've been on here 3 years.
Wow, that's a hell of a thank you for the accolade, man. I appreciate that. Yes, as always, you're welcome back anytime. I do appreciate that, man.
Right on, brother. You have yourself a good one, man, and always stay elevated.
Absolutely a pleasure. Catch you later. All right, going back to comments. By the way, folks, show your boy some love. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 15,000. 800 plus of us in here. We can make that happen. And what do I say in every broadcast? This is a MAGA-friendly program. I do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. MAGA are my preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. The fact that you may agree or disagree with the host never means a damn thing. I do appreciate the generosity there with the heart. Donner, if I'm pronouncing that right, 812, appreciate that. Going back to the box, a world without Democrats. That is what we're talking about. Not a world. Holy shit, Tim got me down up in the Great Barrier Reef there. Appreciate that. A world, better yet, a country. I won't say a world, but if the sovereign nation of the United States, no Democrats, got rid of the progressives, the left-leaning liberals, what would this country be like without Democrats? I had this come up in the comments numerous times, suggesting that America would be far greater. Somebody even asked, what does make America great mean? And the response was, get rid of Democrats. It would make the country a much better country. That's why I'm here asking that. We're going to go right back to the box. I see somebody said paradise. Preacher, SL. Good afternoon, Preacher. Welcome back to the... I'm united, we stand, divided, we fall. That is true. Good afternoon, Preacher. What's up?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Not much without trying to defeat the Democrats. No Democrats in this country. What are you working with?
Yeah, you can get rid of them. I mean, I'm a leftist, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm neither Democrat or Republican. I'm a leftist, and you guys, if you don't know what that means, you need to look that up.
You started out by saying I'm a leftist. I'm neither Democrat nor Republican. What is a leftist to you?
Well, see, a leftist is more like I call out everybody. Let's put it like that. Now, I may lean a little more democratically, but I call out Democrats like I'm especially the corporate Democrats. Like Joe Manchin and Nancy Pelosi. I call them out, but I also got to call out the Mitch McConnells of the world. So that's what I mean by that. But I will. I have to call out everybody. But I'll lean more to the Democratic side because I understand what's going on on the other side.
I have never heard left is being used in conjunction with that definition. Usually, when someone say you're to the left of
Mm.
the aisle, when you're to the left of the aisle, you tend to be Democrat, liberal, progressive. When you're to the right side of the aisle, more Republican, conservative. I have never heard,
Yeah.
or traditionalist, for instance. That's on the right. You
See,
sound like an
yeah,
independent.
a little bit more than that, but it's called left. I get the definition from the doctor, the great doctor. I forgot his name, but when he comes back to me, I'm going to tell you. Where I'll lean a little bit more to the left side of the aisle because I'm more conservative, and this is the thing: we're all conservative and we're all leftists. Because think about this: I love the cops. I don't want to get rid of the police department. You guys must have lost your damn mind if you want to get rid of the police department. You
Interject.
understand? But
Let me interrupt.
yeah,
I'll let you for a minute. Where is your stance on a woman's right to choose? You think abortion should be banned or it should be allowed?
and here is the thing: I don't believe in abortion. I'm a Christian. I don't believe in that. At the same time, it's their body. I don't want to be taking over or making laws to stop her from what she want to do with her body. That's her
All right.
body. I don't believe in it. Just like this, I don't believe in smoking and drinking because I don't smoke and drink. But should I go? I don't want to stop a man from smoking his cigarette or drinking his beers. That's his business.
All right. Second Amendment. What is your stance on the Second Amendment?
Oh, I love that thing. You kidding me? The second, I love that thing. That keeps the
Do
Second
you
Amendment.
do you have any limits, such as, let's say I just turned 18, I've been saving my money up for my paper route, and now that I've turned 18, I want to order 2 AR-15s and as much
No,
ammunition as I can get. Should I be able to get that
no,
if I have no criminal history?
absolutely not.
Why
Absolutely
not?
not.
Why not?
Because see, that is a weapon. You can be okay with a pistol or a rifle, but an AR-15, no, unless you're going into the army. Now people go, well, when you're in the army, that's different. That's a structured environment. It's a structured environment. He can buy pistols if he want. He can buy rifles if he want. But heck, if you can't drink or smoke a cigarette until you're 21, what makes you think walking the street with an AR-15 is safer than than a kid getting in his car and drinking? There's no difference.
Okay, fair enough. I am an elementary school teacher. One of my students showed up today with both of his fathers. Other students in the class are asking, how can a guy have two fathers? I want to discuss that with my students. Should I be allowed to do that?
It's the world we're living in. Like I said, I want to make this clear. I have no problem with the alphabet community. I don't believe in your lifestyle, but it's yours, and you should be able to do whatever you want to do with your lifestyle. Okay, I believe a man and a woman. That's what I believe. But at the same time, I don't want to prevent someone else from living their life. Now, as far as the teacher, if it's part of the curriculum, I don't know if I want that a part of my curriculum. I got to tell you that. I don't know if I want my young child taught that. I don't know yet. Now,
Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't know yet, but I'm not sure if I want my kid.
He must have got a phone call. All right, we'll move it on. Apparently, my last caller had a phone. He didn't drop out, but it did pause, which typically happens when someone receives a phone call. Nevertheless, as always, MAGA-friendly zone. I don't ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. We'll keep it moving. Looking in the comments, you guys, by the way, tap the screen. Shit, we may end up with 30,000 likes, 900 plus of us in here. Show your boy some love. Don't teach my kid anything outside of the curriculum. Miss Miami, I think that says, how could you possibly run a school of any type without teaching children something outside of the curriculum? When you're in school with a teacher, students always ask kids, or better yet, kids always ask teachers things that may not be spot on with the curriculum. I remember I was in 6th grade, giving my age away, when Jesse Jackson was running for president. My teacher was a white guy, and most of my class was African American. I'm in 6th grade. To put the teacher on the spot, we asked him, "Are you going to vote for Jesse Jackson?" And the teacher responded, "Well, shit, there's not even a lot of black people voting for him." But that had nothing to do with the curriculum. We're talking about politics. So it doesn't really matter what your teacher is teaching, whether it's math, science, whatever the class is. Students are going to ask them things that are outside of the curriculum. You know, what should we do when it's snowing this much? Right now, it's a winter wonderland where I'm sitting at. I mean, you know, what time you get up? Do you have coffee? I mean, if you want a teacher to not teach anything outside of the curriculum, you really want a robot. I mean, if you had, let's say you had online classes that do not allow you to interact with the computer any way or form outside of the lesson, that's what you want. But I'm certain all of us have sat in class and asked the teacher what kind of songs do they like, or what do you think about something's in the news. You're going to be taught things that are outside the curriculum when you put two humans together. That's not possible not to do that. Looking in the comments, all the same people want them to teach discipline of self, right? Fair enough. Teach truths. Marvin Johnson, I am a fan of teaching truth. However, a lot of things that we refer to as the truth are often opinions. They're often opinions, particularly when you precede a phrase what the Lord said. It's an opinion. All right, going back to the box. It is, who do we have in here? Shit, you guys, we're going to go with Islam. Oh, this should be interesting. I always love the interesting names. Islam is the way. 114. As always, I do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. I don't know why I do that right now, but Islam is the way. Good afternoon.
Hello, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So what do you think? A country without Democrats, no liberals, you've gotten rid of progressives. How would America be?
It's not just the country, man. The whole world is gonna be perfect, you know. Because with the
Explain, how would the world, tell me some of the imperfections that would be wiped out if we had no left-leaning individuals.
with the left and like the liberals, because the other guy was saying left doesn't mean liberal, but with the left and liberals they're the same. And with the way the world is going on right now, is everything is based on opinion, not based on facts. And the issue with it is they're pushing it to everybody. You know what I mean?
Give me some facts. Give me some facts that you think are being wiped out in favor of opinions.
Right now, I'm an African, but I live in the U.S. Right? I'm an immigrant,
Okay.
came here as a refugee with I was born a refugee, and my parents were waiting to get the immigration status for like 13 years. You know, so I came here when I was
Okay.
15. Now I'm 26, so 13 years, right? The thing with it is, as Africans, we have different culture, but right now we have liberals that are going to Africa pushing different agendas. Starting with Africa already has issues with water crisis, food crisis, education crisis, infrastructure crisis, everything crisis, right? But they want to push this idea of the alphabet people instead of trying to help people. You know what I mean? And a lot of African presidents made that issue. Hey, like if you want to help us this way. This is what we need. Now, our people do not have issues because, as you understand, Africa, there are a lot of people that have been like put together that somehow that do not speak the same language. Some of them they don't have the same religion. Whatever the case, right? Imagine if you start pushing on a different issue, you're gonna create more conflict, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So the number one issue right now with the war right now that's going in Russia. Do you think the war in Ukraine is fair? Most of the liberals are pushing for it, but you think is the correct war?
Well, wait a minute. You're saying the liberals are pushing for the war in the Ukraine. You're telling me the liberals were the ones that pushed for Russia to invade the Ukraine?
Yes.
Where did you hear that?
I have a political science degree, and I got that from analyzing and listening to experts.
Why would the liberals in America want Russia to invade the Ukraine?
The reason is right now when we had Trump, right?
Yeah.
When we had Trump before Biden, right? Trump did everything he could to make sure he made peace with Russia, right?
Okay.
when Biden came, the first thing he did was align the Russians and try to push them in a corner. And instead of sending diplomats, and instead of trying to like come in a way where both of them can say, hey, like this might work out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Right now, once
So
the
let
war
me
is done,
so let me make sure I'm getting you clear. So you do believe Trump was a better president for this nation than Biden?
100%, brother. Like
Okay.
right
So
now,
how do you feel about Trump suggesting that we have a total and complete ban on all Muslims entering America? Were you in favor of that?
that's fair enough. As long what Trump did is different. Trump, if he say I don't want Muslims here, right? He's gonna leave the Muslims over there. You understand me? If the liberals say we don't want Muslims here, they're not gonna leave the Muslims over there. Does that make sense to you?
No, it does. So if Trump had got his way and he was around when your family came here, you wouldn't have been allowed to come here. You think that's a good idea?
Fair enough. What I'm saying is everything is written, right? I'm a Muslim, so I believe everything is destined, right? But what I'm saying is, let's say Trump said, "Hey, we don't want any Muslims here. I don't want Muslims. I don't want to live with Muslims," right? But
Yeah.
I would have expected Trump to also leave Muslim countries. You know, leave them in peace. Don't intervene with military. Don't intervene with politics. Let them be. You know. But when it
So
comes to the
I'm not quite getting. So I'm kind of still confused. So you think
yeah, like it's Trump saying, "Hey, we don't want any Muslims," and the American people vote for it. This is their country, right? Right now, I'm American. I'm a U.S. citizen, right? If I vote
right?
for something if I vote for something that I agree with, you understand me? Let's say I vote
So
for
so in other words, when Trump said he wanted a total and complete ban on Muslims, you think that was a good thing?
at that time, I thought it was I even hated for Trump because he was doing all these campaigns where he was saying about the Muslims, but the issue is what people are not talking about is how weak the Muslim leaders we have in the country. You know what I mean? Back
Yeah, but you're
every
not. I don't think you're quite answering it. You're giving me everything but the actual answer. Do you think that was a good thing to ban Muslims?
at that time it was. And
Okay.
I will explain to you. I'll explain to you in a clear way, right?
Yeah.
When Trump said, I wanna ban, he banned about was it like 6 to 8 Muslim countries?
Well, he
And the countries
later
he
wait
banned,
wait.
and the countries he banned, it was already on Trump on Obama list.
That's not how he stated it. He later altered it to reflect to 6 or 7 countries that he believed we had a terrorist issue with. But when he announced it, he said a total and complete ban on all Muslims. He didn't specify any country. He said all Muslims.
With the issue with Trump is sometimes he meant good, but the perspective he put it in, and the way the media the media hyped it up, right? Because when Trump, when he said, Trump made a lot of remarks when he said Africa is shithole, right? He was not lying. I agree with him. You know what I mean? So, I'm telling you, because as Africans, you know, no matter if you're diaspora, if you live in America, wherever you live, right? As the black man, like we are still stuck in the concept of way that we are being sold mentally that we are not free. You know, you're not free to think for yourself. I came here as a migrant child, went to a high school, you know, without knowing anything, graduated, went to college, graduated. Right now, talking to you, I'm driving a truck. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm driving a CDL. So right now, like the issue with it is the mentality where Trump just wanted to wake people up.
So you as yourself being a Muslim yourself, do you believe Trump is a friend to the Muslim community?
Trump is, yeah.
All right, that's what I was trying to find out. All right, fair enough. Hey, I do got to move it on. Islam is the way. Come on back through anytime. Last word. Go ahead.
It, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. I was watching you for like about 30 minutes, and everything you said was enjoyable. You know, I like how we keep everything open-minded. You know, and that's the only way we can get along. The issue with the reality right now is only one side of the people are controlling the narrative.
Who is that controlling the narrative?
The media, and the media is mostly controlled by the corporate elite. Either they pretend to be leftists or liberals, but they're neither. They just wanna, especially in the black community, they just wanna mentally slave people, you know. But if you
All
if
right.
you are
All right.
not like are not and just say, hey, this not right, you're good to go. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, good to go. Good to go. All right. Look, comments. Abu, what is this? Says, Abti, you're embarrassing us. Oh my God. Bob, be nice. Here is the anti Semitism. Now, in regards to the notion that it's being anti Semitic, unfortunately, a lot of folks do believe the media is controlled by, the J people, J as in Juliet. You know who I'm talking about. You'll start hearing the George Soros, the Rothschilds, and things like that. And a lot of folks translate that to be anti-Semitic. But I'll leave it up to you folks to have your own opinions. As I often say, regardless of whether you agree or disagree with yours truly, doesn't mean a damn thing. I'm going to always let you state your point, because I value your opinion just as much as I value my own. We are both Americans. We both enjoy First Amendment free speech rights. Therefore, it will never be a broadcast where I feel I have the right to speak and you do not. We don't do that here. All right, going back to the box, Greg's house, friend of the program. Noon, Greg. Someone like you, what is it to run for president, brother? Unglued. I can't say your middle name. Appreciate that. Run for president. I might have a few skeletons in my closet. And as a man who loves plus size women, I've often said all my skeletons in my closet are big bone. Greg.
Oh,
Good afternoon, Greg. Greg, are you with us?
look, handsome.
Okay, I caught Greg at a bad time. Let's keep it going. We'll go straight to Lock Talks. As I always, tap the screen. Voice some love. 35,000 likes is possible. Lock Talks, good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. No liberals, no Democrats, no progressives. What would America be like?
I think the American people, they have like an inert, like special, like there's something special about American people that you just can't find somewhere else. It's just something about, I don't know, something about, they have like a sense of
I
entitlement
need to
to
know
them.
what that
But
is. What is it about Americans? I've lived overseas. Give me something that's about Americans that you can't find anywhere else. What's so unique about us?
I think Americans have a sense of entitlement to us. And I think it's kind of good. It's kind of like it's kind of like they kind of just,
Out of all
they
the
have,
socialist countries, all the countries that have free tuition, free healthcare, you think Americans are entitled?
oh yeah, well, compared to like lots of the other world. I mean, in socialist countries, they really, the healthcare isn't much better than here. There's a few models, but like for
Well, if you
330
can't get
million
health,
people,
if you can't get healthcare at all, even bad healthcare is better than here. I don't know if I'd agree with that.
I mean, Canada, there was someone like just last month who was like waiting in the ER for like 8 hours and died. Like that doesn't happen here, and that's like
Shit,
the
it
model
happened to
that
my
people are going off of.
grandfather. My grandfather got out of bed at midnight back in 1999, went to the hospital up the street and died in the ER. So I know that happens here. It happened to my own grandfather.
No, in the waiting room. Like she
In
passed
the
away
waiting
in the waiting
room.
room.
He was in the
Oh,
waiting
in the
room.
waiting
That's
room.
where it happened. Yeah, it happened here.
Yeah, but she was waiting for 8 hours. Was your grandpa waiting for 8 hours?
I don't know how long he was waiting, but I do know I took a chick one time who got bit by a damn puppy or something to an ER, and I had to wait for her for like 14 hours at Cook County Hospital in Chicago. So waiting in the ER for 8 hours is not a long time in most urban areas in this country.
Yeah, maybe. I've never been to the hospital.
Yeah, you might live
I wouldn't
in
doubt
a.
it,
You
but
may
they do
live
have
in
it. They do have a triaging
Go ahead.
system where they can assess patients and they deliver care based on the severity of the
Now
situation.
you're talking about
But
Canada.
yeah,
You're talking about Canada, right? You're talking about Canada, right?
well, that's any healthcare system, or like they would have like a triaging, like
So let me
emergency
ask
medicine.
let me ask it to you this way, because I've seen Canadians on TikTok. There's a girl on TikTok, for instance, making a comment similar to yours, is that for you liberals that think our system is so great, and then she goes into a tirade of like what you're talking about, of how long we got to wait, and and certain doctors and things like that. The question I want to ask is, Canada has a republic, or a what do you call it, a democracy very similar to America, where they vote for how they want their country ran. If they believe their healthcare system sucks, why are they not pushing to adopt the American healthcare system? If their system is so bad, they could always get rid of it and do what we're doing here in America. I don't see that out of any first world country. Do you see any country, England, France, Germany at all, saying we would rather have what they have in America?
Well, yeah, our model isn't really, I wouldn't say it's the best either, because we're getting completely shafted on the pharmaceutical end of things when it comes to like drugs and stuff like that. But when it comes to care, it's not the.
Okay, it looks like I got another caller there. I'm gonna give him a couple seconds. I think he has a phone call.
Oh, sorry, I got the battery thing that came on it. Yeah, I'm not here to champion the healthcare system at all. I think for like emergency care, like we have some good trauma, but for like on the pharmaceutical ends, like we are getting shafted, and it's some of the worst pharmaceutical drug prices in the world. So like to say like they want to copy our model, it's like obviously it's not something that I would like encourage. But like for like, if you have a broken arm, broken leg, but for like long-term intensive care or like even drugs, it's like, it's not a great place to be in the world for medicine.
Yeah, America's system is only good if you're having a dire emergency, because by law, once you have an emergency, you enter the socialist system, whereas they have to treat and stabilize you. So if you have an emergency in America, the healthcare is great. But if you need preventive care, or like you're talking about long-term care or intensive care and all, it starts to get horrible, because that's where they don't have to do it anymore. Only the emergency care is what they have to do, like you're talking about trauma, for instance, or breaking your arm or getting shot in the face or some shit. Yeah, it's great then because they have to do it. But the optional stuff, we suck.
Yeah, and I don't really know. I couldn't even point to a model where they do it too much better, because it's really like predatory all over the world, because it's all the same companies like delivering the care, at least in the Western world anyway. Because like you're going to be getting the same pharmaceutical care you get here, you get in Europe.
Well, you're talking about, yeah, but you're talking specifically drugs. I'm talking about the treatment in general. I mean, getting appointments and things like that.
Yeah, okay. So
yeah, like, go ahead.
That's just like a pretty surface issue when it comes to like, I don't know. I know I brought it up, but like,
how do you, wait a minute, if I feel a lump in my chest or in my nuts or wherever the hell you may feel a lump at, and I think I need to get an MRI or something like that, and they're telling me you cannot get that without proper insurance, how is that a surface issue? That could be something that would save my life.
Well, yeah, in the grand scheme of like, I'm just talking like in the grand scheme of the political scape, like we have like a lot worse things going on in the country than like healthcare.
Well, if you got a lump in your nuts, and
no, I hear you though.
There is nothing going on greater than that to you if you got a lump in your nuts. Doesn't matter what's going on in Ukraine. If you cough and feel pain, that is important to you.
I agree. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But just wanted to make sure we're on the same page with that. That's very important. It's not important until it's actually happening to you.
Well, then we could talk like why I think a large reason like why we see a lot of the cancer rates in the country is because like our food quality is so poor compared to a lot of the other countries in the world. Like the stuff they sell here is banned in like 33 modern nations, like including the European Union, Australia, like even the Pop-Tarts and the Betty Crocker that they sell here.
Well, let me ask you this. In regards to the poor food, let me ask you this. Do you think capitalism is the best system, or would you be willing to entertain some of the other systems?
So when it comes to entertaining a new system, you're always going to like, in a perfect world, there's probably something that's better. But then you have to ask, like, who's going to be implementing this system when it comes to giving power to the people who already have it? And these people, when it comes to like the government, who's like who's shown once they get like an ounce of power, they're looking to take, gallons more. Right. Well, it seems like
the reason
that's something I would be totally against.
Yeah, the reason I asked you about your feelings for capitalism is you're pointing out the annals of big pharma. You're pointing out how bad our food. All of that's capitalism related. They're doing that because they make money off of that stuff. They're pumping all types of chemicals in the food to either make you addicted to it or to spread it around so they can feed more people. All of that's capitalism based. Same thing with the opioids and the pharmaceuticals you're talking about and all the problems we're having there. It's all capitalism based. So as long as
I
we
hear
have a
you.
capitalist system where everybody's trying to make money first and then worry about your health or some of these other issues second, all of the problems you named are going to remain.
Yeah, so I'm for a capitalist country with like stronger regulations when it comes to like morality and like stuff like that.
So would you get, in terms of capitalism, with regulations and things like that, which party, because we talked about Democrats being eradicated, which party would be more likely to give you limitations and regulations on a capitalist system in America, the right or the left?
I mean,
Take your time. Take your time.
when you phrase it like that, it's like you'd be disingenuous to say the left or to say the right. But I mean,
Think about it. Which party is always blamed for trying to implement big government, which is exactly where the regulations are going to come from? Which party is always accused of trying to regulate and put different types of restrictions on businesses?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, when it comes to regulations, I'm more for like regulations when it comes to like foreign policy. Like when you saw the first thing that Biden did when he got in office is he dropped the tax tariffs on China, which Trump put in, which had a pretty good effect when it came to like the money coming in and the money going out.
Mm-hmm.
When it
turns
to like the American economy.
When we talk about the stuff you and I are talking about, imposing tariffs is not going to stop the opioid corruption or the corruption in regards to the foods and things you're talking about.
Yeah, to see something like that,
all that's going to do. The purpose of the tariffs is to bring jobs back to America. It would just switch it from the Chinese exploiting people back to the power of Americans to do it.
Okay, so let me answer your question here. When it comes to all the things I bring up, I'm bringing up these major issues that are like, you're not really going to get change from any constituents that are elected now. You're going to need like a real like leader that's like, it's kind of like that Trump in 2016 entry where you're like, okay, this is something new we've never seen before. And like, we can get like, you need to get a guy in there that you can get real change and you got to run with it and start making a lot of change quick. And with Trump, you thought it could have been that guy and you never really got it. So,
yeah. All right. Fair enough.
So whichever party can kind of do that. But what scares me is if you get someone like that in the left, where they're going to run with it is not really, I don't see them like, because they're in bed. A lot of it is with the government being in bed with private institutions.
And that happens on both sides. Yeah, the being in bed with private institutions, plenty of that happens on both sides. But like talk, I got to move it on, man.
All right. Have a good
one.
All
right, good talk. Look in the comments. Trump hated anyone that wasn't white. Wow. Jan, Trump hated anyone that wasn't white. That's a powerful statement. Listen, I understand Trump has said racially suspicious shit. I mean, so has Biden, but you think Trump hated anybody that wasn't white? That's a really strong statement. Looking in the comments, America wants the balance. Republicans are sick of center continuing to move left. Tim knows. Always a friend of the program. Tim, I don't know in regards to sick of the center continuing to move left. When you look at the Second Amendment, for instance, in this country, have we moved left or right on that? So I don't agree that the center has moved left completely, because in regards to the Second Amendment, we've gotten rid of the assault rifle ban under George W. Bush. I mean, hell, you got states now that you don't need a permit or any damn thing to get a weapon. You can, for the most part, get anything you want in this country, in most of the country. Hell, even in Chicago, you can now get a gun. So in regards to the Second Amendment, we've certainly went to the right. So it depends on each individual. What I want to say, each topic. We've went left on LGBT issues, for instance. But as I'm pointing in regards to the Second Amendment, what about abortion? You think we went to the left on abortion with what just happened? So I don't believe we went center left on everything. Going back to the box. Let's try Greg's house again. You got dropped? We'll make it happen this time. Greg, good afternoon. Caught you when you were on the phone, I guess. I don't know if it's letting you through or not. Debo, Mike Crockett. I wish I did look like Debo. Debo was big in the gym. For some reason, Greg, you're not coming through. It's easier to get a gun on the streets. Yeah, I can't pronounce it. I'll just say Nicole for the name. In regards to it being easier to arm on the streets. Yeah, of course. And it always will be for one reason. One thing you never hear, you often hear folks say if they ban guns, a criminal will always be able to get a gun on the street. There's one thing they never tell you. Where does the street get its guns? The street is not making weapons. Fact is, at the top of the pyramid, supplying guns to everyone are the legal gun owners. The vast
Can you hear
majority.
me at all?
Hold on a second, Greg. The vast majority of guns in this country, plus or minus a few of them that came
Okay.
across the border or that were printed, the vast majority of guns in this country started out with someone owning it legal. So criminals are either finding, buying, or stealing their guns from legal gun owners. That's where the biggest supply is. Good afternoon, Greg. Greg, are you there?
Hi there. Sorry.
I don't know what happened there. All right, ask Australia. All the guns there are illegally made. Yeah, I've been a resident of Australia for a number of years. Their guns there are illegal, but there is very, very few gun crimes. I mean, it is exceptionally rare compared to America. I would tell you a country like Australia, you take one neighborhood in Chicago, and it may have more murders in that one neighborhood than the entire country of Australia. Gun crimes in that country compared to America are exceptionally rare. So there are guns on the street still in Australia. They just banned guns in 1996 over there after a mass killing. And people are not getting shot like they are in America. I don't think there's any first world country. Hell, there may not be a country on earth that has more people getting shot than in this country. Looking in the box, let's keep it moving. Army vet, pleasure. Welcome back.
My brother, what's going on?
20%. Hey, what's up? Real quick in the comments, Inu Music says Australia is also only 20% populated. Fair enough, but if you look at the percentage-wise, if you account for that, Australia still has a significantly lower amount of folks getting shot. I lived in Brisbane, the third largest city in that country, and there was over 1 million people in that city. And you would not even hear of somebody getting shot once a week. In a town that's with 1 million population, not even hearing of a person being shot once a week. Whereas any town in America that has over 1 million people, people are getting shot every damn day. Army vet, good afternoon.
Hey, what's going on, brother? I'm just really joining in. What's the topic today?
We're talking about what would America be like if there were no Democrats, no progressives, no left-leaning liberals in this country. What would this country be like? Would it be better?
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
I had somebody in the comments say that, in regards to what does make America great mean? Getting rid of you Democrats, making this country better. The idea that no Democrats, no progressives. Do you think the country would be better?
No. And I'm gonna tell you why. I ran into this guy's page. He's a Mexican guy, and just real brief, he talked about how prisons were segregated in Texas, and ultimately what it ultimately broke down to is like blacks and Mexicans were like fighting each other, right? And so the warden asked them how could they fix it. They said segregate. Well, then the warden said, well, if you segregate, you're just going to fight amongst yourselves, right? It'll be Dallas against Houston, Houston against whoever. If you do it further and it's just Houston, it'll be East Houston against West Houston. So if you got rid of all the Democrats and only had the people on the right, they would start fighting amongst themselves. You're not far right enough, you're too close to the center. You know what I'm saying? They're going to find a way to fight amongst themselves, and they'll be right back in the same situation. So getting rid of the
That's a
Democrats is not
great
going to fix it.
answer. Yeah, that's a great answer, and I could not agree with that more. And to some degree, that's what's happening right now. When you look at, say, a Marjorie Taylor Greene compared to, say, a Mitt Romney, that's the
Yeah.
exact argument they're having now. Is you're not far enough to the right.
And we have it on the left. People are
Yep.
not, in the AOC camp rather than
Yep.
being on like a Pelosi camp. So you're always going to have people fighting amongst themselves, even if you got rid of one side or the other. That's why moderation, that's why a Republican and a Democratic Party is needed, but it needs to be brought to the center and away from the fringes on both sides, and maybe we can get some things done.
So, but what about the issues that you often hear on the right complain about, such as the LGBT community is indoctrinating our children, or folks want to preach CRT and make children fight against each other? All of that stuff, for the most part, is uniquely left, isn't it?
They need something to complain about, right? If you take all those things and gave them what they wanted, they're still going to complain about it, right? They complained about abortion. That was their big issue. Once that was off the table, they had to find another boogeyman. They're always going to find another boogeyman. They won't come with policy. They'll just tell you what they dislike, what's not good, but they never actually come with policy. Name one
Well,
policy
they
they've actually
do.
put forth.
They do come with some policies, such as the border, the way Trump wanted to handle the border versus, say, how Biden is doing it. That's a policy. And by the way, folks, somebody asked in the comments, "Am I recording?" No, I'm holding the tablet up because I can't read the damn writing with the background of my shirt. So I'm not. The lives are recorded by the app itself. So no, I'm not recording. But yeah, go ahead.
That was no policy. I mean, honestly, that was really not a policy. That was just a strategy, right? They just came with a strategy and said, okay, we're going to separate the families. And once they see they're separated and they're away from their families long enough, then they'll be discouraged and they won't come. That's not a policy. A policy is when you put forth something on paper and you say, listen, or you actually have an actionable plan. For example, paperwork is so backlogged. Why not hire more people to process and to investigate people that want to come here for one reason or another? That's a policy. You want to secure the border? How do you want to secure the border? Do you need more agents? Do you need more technology? Put those things forward. That's a policy, not just if they come here and we catch them, then we separate them until they get discouraged. That's not a policy.
Do you think building a wall is a policy?
Hell no, that's not a policy. That just sound great. You know what I'm saying? Build the wall, Mexico's going to pay for it. Next thing you know, he's trying to get the taxpayers to pay for it. No, it's not a policy. It was a campaign slogan that people that are xenophobic could latch on to and feel good that, okay, he's going to build a wall to keep them out, as if drugs aren't being dug under tunnels to get here. You know what I'm saying? The
Well,
wind blows and
speaking
the wall
of,
falls down. Come on, man.
I saw this in the comments, and I don't know enough. So I'm gonna plead ignorance on this, but maybe you can help me out with this. We talked about the wall, and there have been groups going down to the border because there's no wall, and because of how Biden's treating the border. There's been groups in America going down there on their own to protect the border. One of those groups is the Proud Boys. And in the comments, Cody SH1 in with an exclamation point says he is a Proud Boys supporter. What is the Proud Boys in your opinion? Because I don't know enough about this. And for you folks in the audience, when you hear that term Proud Boys, like what is that? Do you know anything about this group, Army?
So basically, they're a bunch of excuse my language here. I'll try to be politically correct, but they're a bunch of sissified racist cowards that want to hide behind patriotism and act like they're tough guys, right? But when the shit really hits the fan, they'll be running and tucking their tails because they can go down to the border all they want. But let's be real. If they actually ran into actual cartel members, I guarantee you they will run like little punks. And
Wow.
that's just keeping it real, man. Those dudes, listen, man. Those dudes, they act like they tough. I guarantee you they won't walk anywhere like they have on the south side of Chicago, right? They won't go into the Bronx, right? They won't go to East LA and do that, right? They go to the outskirts and they dress in their cosplay and they act like they're tough. You know what I'm saying? Get out of here, man. You know what I'm saying? They won't
You
even
say,
listen. They won't
you
come.
say
That's what they are,
cosplay.
man. That's what they are, man. You know what I'm saying? They buy
Oh my
tactical
God.
gear and they march and they talk and they talk tough about they'll do this and they'll do that. Look, like Mike Tyson said, everybody's tough and everybody has a plan till they get smacked in the mouth, right?
Yeah,
That's
I do
how it is
remember
with
that.
those guys. You know, remember what's the one, the Patriot Front guys? They were acting all tough and you will not replace us. And every time you see on videos, they getting ran out of one city to another, getting ran back into the back of the U-Haul trucks. Come on, man. They cowards and they talk a big game, man.
All right, Army. All right. I see you going. The audience is going nuts for you, man. So I think you hit a home run with that one. I appreciate you coming in. Shit.
All right, brother.
Anytime.
Have a good one, man.
Absolutely a pleasure. Army vet never disappoints. All right, looking in the comments. Us white guys are happy. We don't need to fight. Well, do blacks need to fight? Does anyone need to fight? I'm looking in the comments. MAGA equals cosplay cowards. Yeah, he definitely brought about a chuckle when he referred to the dressings or the apparel of the Proud Boys as cosplay. Wow. They were trying to make reps look bad. Speaking of trying to make folks look bad, yeehaw, A-Dot, appreciate the hat and mustache. And speaking of trying to make folks look bad, did anyone see Marjorie Taylor Greene walking through the halls of Congress with the white balloon? And, very similar to the Chinese spy dirigible that was flying over the United States last week, trying to make folks look bad. I think the interpretation was that, a balloon can fly anywhere, something like that. How many people seen that? Anyway, I see in the comments, the Rav says, love Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, she probably will be around for a while if she maintains that position in that particular district. I don't think she could do a lot on a national level because she's fairly extreme, but where she's at, yeah, she'll be around for a while. Let's keep it moving. Rambo Brainstorm. I seen the first Rambo in 1979 at the theater, First Blood. Good afternoon, Rambo.
What's up, bro? How are you?
Not much at all. We're talking about a nation without liberals, without Democrats. You think the country would be better off?
No, I think it's a baited question. So, I don't think I was born the same thing I am now. So,
are you trans? That sounds like a trans argument.
I mean, that's cute and all, but you understand what I'm saying. So,
explain it, because that does sound like that. Tell me, elaborate.
I would say when I was young and malleable, my morals.
Okay, I get it now.
So when I was young and my thought process was more malleable, look, I looked at things like what we just saw in the Grammys last weekend, like artwork, right? I looked at it like it was something that was, it was just freedom of expression, right? It was the things that I was taught in school. And I don't look at it that way, but I think that it's because of a bit of extremism. Now, hold on and let me explain, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So I think that healthy debate is exactly what this country should be having. We should be debating on a healthy level where everyone has freedom of speech to talk about every single issue that you've just brought up, right? Everything I've listened to for the last, how long has it been? 50 minutes I was waiting to get on here. The issue right now that I have, and I heard one of the points that somebody made in your comments was that the second anybody brings up globalism, it's anti-Semitism. Or look, I don't care if they're green, brown.
Viewed that way.
I don't care.
Go ahead.
Lizard people, I don't care what they are, right? We can all joke about what it is people think. But my issue right now is, look, Make America Great Again has zero to do with any of these issues. In my opinion,
what does this slogan mean to you? When you hear Make America Great Again, what does it mean to you?
Inclusive nationalism versus globalism.
What is nationalism to you?
Inclusive nationalism would be exactly what it says. Make America Great Again, where our policies and our freedoms are for putting America first. Look, hold on. I want to make one more point before you ask me any more questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Respect. So, as I said, I believe that a healthy debate is what this country needs. As I grew up, my belief system was a lot more liberal than it is now. I do feel like it's a little bit manipulated by the extremism that I feel globalists have done to this country. So what I mean by that is I'm a proponent of healthy debate, but when they start censoring us on every single level, when the mainstream media will only give us one side, when social media.
Wait, but let me interrupt, because your point is you got a winded point, so I want to interrupt and say a few things first, because when you described Make America Great, I have to ask the obvious question, because this comes from minorities all the time. How do you respond to someone who says, "When was America great?" that happens to be a minority?
Okay, so when was America great? I get it. I've heard this argument before. When was America great? So I don't know when. I realize that that's also a baited question. So if I go and I say,
how is it baited? How is that a baited question?
Well, I mean, I've heard it. I've heard the racist card used when it comes to that. I've heard, in my opinion, the country was great when JFK got assassinated.
Yeah, but you do realize, as a minority, we could barely even vote or go to college, during the JFK era is when we first got civil rights.
I'm American Indian. And
what?
I'm half American Indian. I'm half Italian.
Okay, so you believe America was great back in the 60s?
I believe that the Make America Great Again slogan, the logo, right now, as it currently stands, look, we can get into semantics about when was it great again. What I'm telling you is right now, currently. I don't have to agree with every word in the MAGA logo to tell you what I think it is currently. Right, so let's not get off topic. Right now, currently.
Well, wait a minute. I guess the reason what I'm trying to get clarity from you on is there are minorities who do not believe there is any point in America's past that we were great. That's not semantics. That's the way they feel. And I'm asking you, how would you explain to them what that means?
Then change the logo. Then. What I believe the movement is right now, so take the red hat down. I don't care. I don't give a shit about Donald Trump, to be honest. I don't care. I think he's the spearhead of a movement. The movement I'm talking about is right now we are literally, as a nation, both sides of us, red, white, red, blue, Republican, Democrat, gay, straight, it don't matter. Everything they've divided us on, in my opinion, we need to reunite on, because what we're facing is not any of those issues. None of them. And what I'm saying we're up against has nothing to do with any race or anything. It has to do with big banking system and globalists. They have infiltrated this country, and they've literally censored us on every level. Mainstream media, social media, our schooling system.
Wait a minute. You're saying globalists have infiltrated this country and censored us on every level. Is there a time period that you can go back to when we were not censored?
To this level? Absolutely. 10 years ago, we weren't to this level. No, but not at all. No, I can't remember it. Not in my 41 years. You're right. But I remember when we first started giving all these kids trophies for participating. Mm-hmm. And that, in my opinion, was the beginning of a downward slope. And now we're looking at censor. Let me look at the Twitter files. Look at FTX. I'm sorry. Was it FTX? Look at Balenciaga.
But you believe wealthy bankers and globalists are interested in censoring us in regards to the LGBT issues. You really think they're going to get into what is the benefit of somebody getting into something like that at that level?
Look into the World Economic Forum Agenda 2021, Agenda 2030, and look into C40.org, look at 15-minute cities, look at what they did with the vaccine. There's absolutely no question. If you look into the globalists, they are literally telling you what they're doing. They're telling you. And they did it with COVID. They did it with the vaccine. They told you they were going to do it, and then they did it. Now they're telling you C40.org, 15-minute cities, and what they're going to do as far as corralling us into 15-minute cities so they control the carbon. Look, you and me, no matter where we come from, are both made out of carbon. They're doing it so they can control us. So our issue right now, as me and you sit here and try to debate the policies, right versus left, they are literally putting a thumb on us and trying to control us as a globe.
Okay.
And
So let me ask you this. Currently in this country, we have what's looking like two choices for, because you mentioned we need to come together and get rid of this globalist issue and unite. So in regards to trying to seek unity, we only have two choices look like coming up for 2024 between Trump and Biden. Do you think every one of these candidates could be a good candidate to unite us?
No, Handsome, I would suggest that you read the devolution theory. Because
I'm asking you this question, though. I'm asking you this question. Do you think either one of those candidates could unite us?
I'm asking you to take the blinders off, and I'm answering your question. Read the devolution theory. There is something happening in this country right now. Look, you and your following aren't going to agree with me. Sorry, all my computers just went off. So I saw your name. You got tagged on one of my videos. I do a podcast. And you got
wait a minute. I do want to get an answer. You don't have an answer if the two candidates we're looking at, Trump and Biden, which one of them could possibly unify us? Yes or no? Do you see not either one? Maybe one of them, maybe both. You don't have an answer for that other than to go read an article?
Well, no, it's not an article. So it's a little bit more difficult for me to answer that question when I believe that devolution is in place and we're in a continuity of government state, because I don't believe either Joe Biden or Donald Trump are running in 2024. I believe that our government's in control, and I can prove it literally by what happened just yesterday, by what happened to the Speaker of the House meeting. I can prove it. I can literally go back. This is what I do. I study this stuff. I can literally go back and prove through anomalies.
Who's running the country right now? Who is running this country right now?
It would be my most educated guess that the military is running all 7 areas of government: continuity of government and foreign relations.
Who's running the military?
There's theories. It's our military. They wouldn't leak. They wouldn't tell you. So I can't tell you. I can't possibly.
So in other words, you do not know who's running our country.
It would be our military. It would be the intelligence.
But you don't know who's running the military.
No, and neither do you.
Well, I don't believe the military is running the country. I'm asking you.
But you haven't read the executive order. So we can have this debate. You can just call me crazy, but I've done the research.
Okay. All right, Rambo. I do got to move it on. You got a unique set of opinions. You're always welcome back.
I would invite you to read devolution.link, and next time I come on, maybe we could talk about it.
Okay. You're scaring me, but fair enough.
It's literally laws and orders. It's backed by legal documentation.
Okay. All right. Comments. He knows everything, says Chad. Not call you. Listen, a little bit different from my previous guest. We talked to Army vet, and then we got a guest with a different set of opinions. As I always say, this is a MAGA-friendly program. I do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. Fact that I may agree or disagree with you, or vice versa, doesn't mean a damn thing here. Obviously, I make no qualms about it. I didn't agree with anything the last guest was saying, but I do value his ability, his right to speak, which is why he was not banned or censored or blocked. I saw plenty of folks in the comments suggesting I do just that, but I don't do that, and I also make the solemn promise that I never talk down to my guests. I'll let you speak. If what you're saying is worthy or ridiculous, your words will cover that. We don't ban you here. I don't think that's the way to do things. All right, looking in the comments section. Oh my God, he gave me a headache. Articles are not opinions. It's in black and white, says you. Yeah, but that is true. An article is, not necessarily. An article can be an opinion. Depends on who's writing it and what the subject of the article is. Who would be your idea for new presidential candidates? Well, shit. I mean, I think on the right, they're better off with somebody like Ron DeSantis. I think he would be far more competitive for their side. On our side, it depends on who they put up on their side. I'm not a huge Biden fan. However, I believe if Trump is promoted to the top of the Republican ticket, which is highly likely at this point, probably the best ammunition against Trump would probably be sending Biden back up. Obviously, if we get our hands on Michelle Obama, we got an instant victory, but she doesn't appear to be trying to run. Gavin Newsom, I don't know if he could beat Trump, but I think Biden could. So it depends on who they're putting up. Yeehaw on the hat and mustache. I do appreciate that. Who the hell just sent that? Zion, I think it was. I appreciate that. All right, going to go straight back to the box, and we'll make it happen with my name is Kitten. Kitten, you always have an interesting guest follow-up, Kitten. Good afternoon.
Hey, what's going on, handsome liberal? How are you, man?
Not much at all. We're talking about no Democrats in America. America that has been eradicated of liberals, progressives, and the left. What would the country be like?
So you can forget about getting Social Security or Medicare. That's gone. You can pretty much forget about food stamps or any programs that would help impoverish people. Those are all gone. You're talking about corporations have even higher record profits than what they have now.
But wait a minute. Yeah. In regards to your first comment, you can forget about Social Security. Sure. During the State of the Union address, Biden stated, I guess we all agree now, Social Security is off the table, and the Republicans stood up. So the Republicans are indicating they don't want to remove Social Security.
I have George Santos on tape saying that he wants to get rid of Social Security.
George Santos? I got George Santos on tape saying he went to the moon. Give me somebody
else. Yeah, I hear you. So Republicans have not been trying to eliminate Social Security since its inception, is what you're advocating?
Well, I'm just simply saying, during the State of the Union address, George Santos,
they also said they weren't going to do a national abortion ban, right? And they tried, right? So, you can't believe their bullshit.
That's a really good comeback. That abortion ban comment is a really good comeback. So you do believe that they're after Social Security?
It's not something I believe. It's a fact, my dude. They've been trying to get rid of Social Security since FDR put it into place. And you'll see a bunch of Republicans in your chat saying lies, lies, lies. They know they're trying to get rid of it.
What would be the outcome, particularly for elderly, many that live off of that, if we got rid of Social Security?
You're talking about a bunch of old people now living on the street because they have fixed incomes, and a lot of them are heavily reliant on Social Security, right? You and I will never see it. Oh yeah,
Go ahead.
You think the poverty rates are bad now? Get rid of Social Security, you'll have a whole new wave of poor people hitting the street.
In regards to what you're saying, I've said it on many other lives in the past. Whether you folks think Bernie Sanders is ridiculous or you think he's the legitimate candidate, I didn't support Bernie Sanders, but I do believe in the near future we are going to get a Bernie Sanders-like candidate. And the reason I said that it's very similar to what you're talking about is that the moment they got rid of pensions and replaced it with 401ks and made saving for retirement optional, we were doomed, because once that group of people, which I think it started in the 80s or so they're going to be retiring soon. You're going to have a lot of elderly people retiring with no savings at all. Nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Social Security is not going to be enough, and you're going to have a Bernie Sanders candidate come up and say, look, I will look out for you. And the elderly vote a hell of a lot more than the college kids that were typically supporting somebody like that.
You're looking at a country where almost every major city is totally impoverished because the poorest states in this country are red states, okay? They cannot run local government because they don't know how to run government at all. They can't govern. They're not a governing party. They are a culture war party. They are a fascist party. They're an authoritarian party. They don't want policy. They want you to worry about what bathroom people are going to. Or if a guy's wearing girls' clothes, they're not worried about clean air. They're not worried about clean water.
How do you respond to that? That does come up a lot. How do you respond to someone who does believe that they are pushing LGBT issues on children too much? How do you respond to a parent that says that?
I say that they're not pushing it enough. I say that your children need to be educated, that there are other ways to live in this country aside from being heterosexual, and you need to get over your sexual hangups. Maybe you have pent-up sexual hangups. Maybe you are LGBTQ and you're in the closet and you just can't face it. Maybe you hate yourself. My question would be, why are you so concerned what other people are doing or are having sex with or are wearing? How do you have time to worry about this?
Yeah. So is there any belief at all? Because this is what they tend to believe, that if you tell children about LGBT issues, you will give them the inclination to maybe start being curious and investigating, living their lives that way.
So what? So what? Who cares? So what?
A child?
Yeah.
A child deciding on their own, not necessarily feeling like they were born a girl, but because it's the end thing. Is that possible?
So what? So what? The child gets curious? Oh no. Well, let's burn all the books. Let's get rid of all the information. Children might become curious. Oh my God, let's get rid of all the information that might make children curious. Oh my goodness. By the way, I wanna say something to the last guest you had on there, the Q guy.
Sure.
I want to make everyone aware in this chat that when they say globalists, they mean Jewish people.
All right,
That's what
just say the J people, because I don't, TikTok has its own shit. I don't ban them. Yeah, I don't censor you for anything, but I know the TikTok gods do sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
I've
agree.
heard that before, that anytime you hear globalist, you're talking the Rothschilds, George Soros, and you're talking J people.
Yeah, and the ones that in chat, the globalist reference that the right wing came up with, what it means is you guys are referring to Jewish people in that they have no loyalty to a specific country, or I'm sorry, that J people have no loyalty to a specific country, that they will go worldwide, right? That they will spread their money worldwide instead of being loyal to a specific country. And that's who you're talking about when you say globalists. Okay, that's why Marjorie Taylor Greene is up there talking about J space lasers. Okay, you guys think you're slick with these terms? You're not.
Yeah,
you're not.
I've heard it a lot. I guess I'm going to plead ignorance on this, but I often wonder, why are J people hated so much? What have they done to receive this level? It's right up there with African Americans, if not significantly greater. What
So
have they done?
I happen to be a J person. And I'll tell you why. Because we do well because we have a lot of togetherness in our communities. Not everything Kanye West said was wrong. Not everything he said was wrong. Jewish people do tend to go to Jewish businesses. Jewish people do tend to help out other Jewish people or J people.
You're throwing the word around a lot. I get it, but just go ahead. I want to hear this though, but try not to say Jewish over and over again.
It's because we have a huge sense of community. J people have a very long history that they can track all the way back thousands and thousands of years. That's not something that many other cultures have. And because we have that, our community is very solidified. So that's why we do well. And that's why we experience a lot of hate from other communities.
So what are you saying? You're like the Yankees? People just hate you because you're winning games?
Yeah, people hate a winner. People hate winners. People are haters. Yes,
wow.
Absolutely. We got involved in the banks because no one else wanted to. We got involved in those businesses that nobody else wanted to. And then it just so happens that all those businesses took off. And our community got a whole bunch of money because we were doing the things that nobody else wanted to do.
That's a unique perspective. Like I said, I'm pleading ignorance, so I don't know why you face as much hate as you do, but I know you do face a hell of a lot of hate. That's undeniable. But I wanted to get your spiel on it. Fair enough. I will end up asking this question, hopefully to someone else as well. I want to see if their take is as similar as yours, but because you kind of remind me of George W. Bush on 9/11 saying that they hate us because we're free. Fair enough. I've never heard that take, but I appreciate you coming through, man, and look forward to talking to you in the future. All right, good talk.
Have a good one, man.
You too. All right, look. J people are European, just like Italian, Irish, French, Spanish, etc. That is true, but they have a unique set of enemies. They just seem, even giving them Israel, giving them their own country, the hate just followed them. So, they fled Germany, obviously, with all of the amount of hate that was there. They're on a different continent. They literally left Europe and went to the Middle East, and the hatred just continued. And even when they migrate to other places, like say, for instance, here in America, for instance, They're not being hated by mostly Middle Eastern people in this country. It's a new group of people hating them. So for some reason, they do seem to attract a lot of hate. I'm totally ignorant on why, so I would love to, hear somebody else's take on it. I'm not ever here to pretend like I'm a know-it-all. That's why I enjoy talking to the folks. Even though I stayed in some MAGA-friendly zone, liberals and other opinions are welcome as well. And that is one of the primary reasons why I never censor, ban, or block anybody. We can all learn from each other. I say it on every broadcast that if we can have civilized dialogue across the aisle, in this little tiny ass corner of social media, it shows they can do it in Washington and other places. They're just not trying. We make it happen here, even on a little low ass level like this. Let me go back to the comments section. Well, if he's an indication of J people, I can see why he's not very popular. Lisa, what did he say other than we kicking ass and winning? Isn't that what President Trump says? You're going to be tired of winning? Are we hating on the man because he thinks he's victorious? The reason is as ignorant and illogical as the hate. Then if that's the reason, who was sold into slavery on boats? That's the real biblical Jays according to the Bible. Supremacists hate the J people because they are so productive and have so much, says Josie Wells. That's his explanation as well. Let me go back to the box. Craig Smith, welcome back to... Good afternoon, Craig.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. We were talking about the country minus liberals, minus Democrats, minus progressives. If you got rid of those groups, how would America be?
Well, y'all didn't got serious. I was shits and giggles.
Well, you can respond to the previous topic, but real quick in the comment section, folks, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 50,000 likes. Show your boy some love. Go ahead, Craig.
I thought we tried this once before in American history.
Did we? To get rid of liberals and progressives?
I mean, when they first started off, what did they do? You had Bonnie and Clyde. I mean, you talking about just having straight conservative? They were Wild Wild West. I mean, this is on a whole different level now. So you saying get rid of all the Democrats and just have the conservatives or whatever? We did that before. They killed off the buffaloes. They messed up the water. If it hadn't,
so they could destroy the country. So in other words, the whole country would be like Flint, Michigan, drinking water in Flint.
Man, come on now. If it hadn't been for a lot of Democrats, man, inventing stuff, we'd still probably be washing our clothes in the river.
Damn.
I mean,
so what you're basically saying is Republicans stifle invention, stifle innovation.
No, they stole it.
Oh, that's even worse. That's even worse.
I mean, don't get me wrong, man. Just think about it. Back in the days, you had Bonnie and Clyde, you had Bat Masterson, you had Billy the Kid. They were doing the same thing back in them days. They was uncivil, they was unrest. I mean, everything was going on. And if you got rid of Democrats, it'd still be going on there. Just be going on with them. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean,
Army vet. We had a caller, Army vet, who was a friend of the program, said something similar, a little bit different, but he sounded kind of similar to you. In other words, even if you get rid of a group, the remaining group is going to find different issues to fight amongst each other with.
I mean, that's the way I see it. I mean, you talking about getting rid of Democrats and just having conservatives,
right?
I mean, see the way they fighting now. I mean, they can't even get together now.
How do you think the LGBT community would fare in this country if there were no Democrats, liberals, or progressives?
They'll line them up.
Oh my God.
They'll line them up.
What about us? What about African Americans?
Hell, you already seen what they did. They already did it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It was already when Democrats, you had the opposite point of view. That's when things started changing. No, everybody is not going to get what they're looking for. But
so how do you respond because I get a lot of my beloved MAGA that will suggest that it is Biden, and that side of the aisle that is intolerant and they don't treat blacks right. And Trump has done more for blacks than any president in recent history, and that's where our vote should be. How do you respond to someone who says that African Americans should be following Trump and voting Republican?
I can't see that, and I'm an African American. I just can't see it. I mean, what did Trump do? I mean, what did he do? I mean, he gave some money to the schools. That's what they're saying. That money was already allocated. He just had to approve it. That's all.
Well, they're going to point to, obviously, you're talking about the HBCU issue, but they're going to point to he did get some folks out of prison, or tried to at least flirt with some form of prison or criminal justice reform. They're going to point to that. They're going to point to the economy and the jobs numbers in the black community. These are the things they're going to point to.
Well, I mean, that wasn't just for black folks, because he got his own
True.
out of prison too.
That is true.
He pardoned a whole lot of them criminals that should be up in there right now. So I that's a bunch of mess, man. That's just a talking point, man. To me, that's just a talking point.
Right.
I mean, don't get me
wrong.
I'm
getting this one. I want to run one other by you. I got my own answer on it, but I want to hear yours. Folks are talking about the fact that the Democrats created the KKK, the Democrats were the party of slavery, et cetera, et cetera. What do you do with that?
Okay, that was a switching bait. That's all that was. That was a switching bait. I mean, when the United States first started, what was it? Conservative. They had their own way of thinking. They wanted to keep people in slavery. They wanted to do this. They didn't want women to have rights. All of this stuff that they were doing, they would do it now if they had the chance to do it.
So you believe that if conservatives could get their way, they would roll back the rights of minorities and even women?
If they could, but we ain't going. Wow. It's over. That's over with.
Wow.
That would.
So you basically believe the Conservative Party are oppressors. They want to be oppressive.
Well, look what they're doing in Florida. They don't even want to teach African American history, and African Americans then did a lot for this country. We didn't fought for this country. We didn't did a lot. A black American signed one of the first dollar bills.
Speaking of money, you think we'll ever get the Harriet Tubman 20?
A lifetime rate lock. The rate you start with is the one you keep.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to come under the Trump presidency, and they set it back for 8 years, and I have not heard anything about it from Biden.
I think if they had a Beyonce on it, they would put it on there.
You want Beyonce on the 20 with all that weave? She wouldn't even fit in the circle.
I wouldn't want Beyonce nowhere, but I'm just saying, if it was a better looking black woman, they would probably put it on there.
Okay.
You look kind of rough on that one, but hey, that was her.
Okay, you don't want. So in other words, you don't want Medea on the 20.
Medea might be. This is just for shits and giggles now. Because y'all went serious on me, and I wasn't prepared for that. But
all right.
But yeah, man. Look at back in the days, man. They was carrying sidearms, man. They was shooting people out in the street. They were robbing banks. They was robbing trains. They were doing all kind of stuff. They'd still be doing the same thing right now, man.
Man, so you basically see the Republican Party as a lawless entity.
Look at them. They carrying lapel pins now with AK-47s.
You know that? Yeah, I saw that the other day. What the hell was that all about?
Now, I mean, come on now. Every time when you see one of their commercials when they advertising for a re-election or something, they always shooting something, or they always got guns. Yeah. What's up with that?
But how do you respond to someone that would say Republicans are not lawless? They believe that an armed society is a polite society, and they are rather law-abiding. They're law-abiding citizens.
When a man can't deliver a package to a place, they're law-abiding. When a person come up and ask him for his ID and what you doing in this neighborhood and chasing folks. Come on now. These people need to wake up and realize that we need both sides of the aisle, no matter what.
I
because
do agree with that. I do
sometimes
agree with that.
Republicans got good points, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I liked it Reagan. I liked it Reagan I mean, I didn't vote for him, but I liked
Yeah.
it.
Well, and he was, in terms of unity, I think he got more states in terms of the electoral college than any president might be in history. Certainly in our lifetime. Reagan was considered a unifying president back then.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it.
So
I mean, at first I didn't like him, but his policies, some of it worked for me. So I was
how
okay.
do you feel about the war on drugs? We often hear about Biden and the crime bill. Reagan is probably the biggest author of the war on drugs with his wife Nancy. How do you feel about that one?
That's crazy because Bill Clinton in that mess too.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton used to have so I mean, the war on drugs is just a big sham, man. To me, it was just to lock a lot of people up, man. Because Bill Clinton used to allow drugs to be flown into Arkansas or whatever.
Well, you think that Arkansas made an improvement now that they got Sarah Huckabee Sanders down there as governor?
And they probably got worse than that. Because what she was talking about the other day on TV, I don't know what she was watching.
Yeah, she may be the next Ron DeSantis because she obviously left Trump's camp very much beloved by Trump supporters. She just hasn't been in the managerial role for very long. But yeah, I could see Huckabee Sanders one day making a run at the White House, probably in the next 1 to 2 elections. I mean, you may see her becoming a rising star.
You might be right, because love crazy. They love crazy. I mean, look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. Just like you said, she was walking through the halls of Congress with a balloon. What kind of mess is that?
Well, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's a bit wacky. But look, Craig, I gotta move it on. You know how we do. All right, good talk, man. All right, looking in the section. We love her. He says Raymond. Yeah. What the hell? Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Yeah, on the right, she is very well liked. Now, Nikki Haley also worked under the Trump administration for a short period of time, but she didn't get as deep in the mud. She didn't get into the infighting and the battles, whereas Huckabee Sanders was literally on the front line. So for folks who like Trump, they're going to like Huckabee Sanders quite a bit because she was certainly on the front lines, whereas Nikki Haley was more of a moderate representative of the Trump administration. And just being honest, folks on the right, particularly my beloved MAGA, you guys like fighters. You like people on the front line returning fire. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, probably Kellyanne Conway, but I think Huckabee is probably even more of a fighter than Kellyanne, but Kellyanne Conway is probably another one. Looking in the comments, Haley ran hot and cold. What did I say? Love what I see, a smart man right here, make America great again. Try me twin. I appreciate the comment. All right, let's keep it moving in the comment section. We'll go with my boy Bionic Man Keith. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Bionic Man. And by the way, looking in the comments here, happy Black History Month. Appreciate that. Keith, good afternoon.
How's it going, Tim? I think
the
problem with this country right now is we've got too much tribalism in here. And you see it on CNN, you see it on Fox, you see it in the chat right now. You see it from the far right, from the far left. I mean, you got people who generalize. I watched a video that you had on one of your TikToks where a woman went down the list of Republicans and she just slammed on Republicans. And I made a statement of whenever you generalize anything and you just say like all Republicans are this, all Democrats are that, all liberals are this. That's like me saying all Muslims are this, all the Che people are that, all blacks are this, all whites are this. It's like you just discriminate against an entire group of people.
Yeah.
You can't generalize all Republicans, all 70 million people, all 70 million Democrats. you start tribalizing people, and it just creates so much animosity. I
So
think
let me say this in regards to exactly what you're saying right now. In the comments, Go Tyranno, I can't pronounce the name, but he's saying most Republicans don't like brothers like you. Now he's talking about yours truly, but does that comment fit the narrative of what you're saying? Most Republicans do not like people that look like me.
I don't think that that's true at all. I think
What do you think
most
that
people.
comes from? Why do you believe so many minorities, particularly African Americans, do not believe Republicans have a favorable view of us?
Because I think that's the narrative that a lot of the media likes to portray. I think that the media and social media loves to keep us at odds. I mean,
So you don't believe either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party are any more hostile to African Americans. They both have their pros and cons.
We go to work every day. Do you work with a wide range of people that have different faith, that have different skin color? Are you at odds with people at work every single day? No. Yet we come on social media and everybody's ready to rip each other's head off.
Well, I can elaborate on why I believe that is because when we go to work, we're not allowed to engage in the conversations that you and I are having right now. If we sat down in our offices and had the same conversations you and I are engaging in, you would have the same problems at work.
Okay, let's give an example of like when that football player, and I can't think of his name, from the Bills, went down on the field. And you've seen a plethora of people of every skin color, of every faith in this country that like had signs up. This country rallied around that kid. And it's like whenever something bad goes on in this country, and it's like it's sad, but it's a silver lining, you know, when something bad happens, that's what it takes for us to like get together. It's like when 9/11.
Wait a minute, but damn, do I got a down and feel of a heart attack before you honor Black History Month? I don't want it to get to the point where you got a down and feel before people be like, okay, Kumbaya sounds like a good song now. Can we unite before somebody drops dead or a building is ran into with an aircraft?
Either do I. That's why, like, you know, when Biden's speech the other day, he was talking about that there was like 300 pieces of legislature that they unified on. Why don't they? Why is that not in the media more? Why do we not see commercials on that? Why do we not see that on Fox and CNN more? Why don't we have these politicians talking about that more? It's like that was the first I had even heard about that.
I haven't heard of it yet. I still haven't. You said 300 things. I haven't heard of that at all.
Yeah, he said that the other day in his speech. There was 300 pieces of legislation that they agreed on. It's like, and I was like, whoa, I was blown away by that.
Yeah, I haven't heard that either. But I mean, the very nature of politics, though, is divisive. I mean, you can't, if you run a campaign of unity, you're probably going to lose. I mean, like right now, you got President Trump essentially referring to DeSantis as a pedo. Posted a picture yesterday suggesting that Ron DeSantis was grooming underage girls with alcohol when he used to be a teacher. How can DeSantis respond to that without being divisive?
You know, I seen that picture. DeSantis looked really young. You know, you can't tell me like, oh, these girls didn't. I mean, for all I know, these girls ran over to him and said, hey, can I get a picture with you? And he said, sure. And it's like, and then you're going to like come back 20 years later and say he's a pedo? It's like, come on, man. It's kind of like when everybody.
I'm not pretending like I think DeSantis is a pedo. We know it's a hit job from Trump. But what I'm saying is, how can DeSantis respond to his constituents, potential voters for 2024 in a unifying manner when you got Trump out there suggesting he's a pedo?
I would just look at it and say, and that's coming from who? I mean, you're talking about a guy who has talked about grabbing you know what and getting away with it, right? Who's gone through like the dressing rooms when he was like in charge of like, you know, the pageants and stuff. It's like, come on, dude. You got to walk the walk if you're going to talk shit like that.
Yeah, but that did that work for Hillary? Did that work for Jeb Bush? I mean, if you take the high road with Trump, has that worked for anyone?
I don't think it's working for Trump anymore. I think Trump has become like when Chris Christie just recently talked about him being too toxic anymore. I think that that's the way people are seeing it. People are kind of, you know, Trump came in at the right time where people were tired of politics. He was an outsider. People were like, hey, you know, Congress had an 11% approval rating. It's like they wanted something different. And Trump was different. But over the last 8 years, it's like they just see him as somebody who's just becoming too toxic for America. And I don't think he's going to get the nomination this next go around.
Well, I gotta run this one by you. I know you're saying you don't think Trump's going to get the nomination. I don't necessarily agree with that. But in the comments, American Ninja is saying you guys haven't figured out DeSantis is a globalist yet. What is a globalist in your opinion?
Globalist to me is somebody that wants to kind of break down the walls of each individual country. And well, like you have like in Europe, they wanted to have like one unified like money, right?
Right.
And then they went back because they didn't like that. It's like they want to unify like all the different countries, and you don't have that. You don't have that tribalism, right? You want to break down that tribalism.
Do you see people like George Soros or the Rothschilds? Do you see them as globalists?
Oh, sure.
Okay. All right.
But well, I think somebody like George Soros is also toxic.
How so?
Because he uses his money to get his way.
Who with money doesn't do that? Are you talking about Jimmy Carter? Other than President Carter, who has money that doesn't use it to get their way?
But he has spent like absurd amounts of money to try to underhandedly put people into power to like affect our police departments, affect our DAs, like he did in LA.
What about the Koch brothers? They are conservative donors. Do you see them as globalists as well?
Absolutely. They've done the same thing against gay issues, against stuff like that. It's like whenever you have people that are far left or far right, it's like, to me, that's why when you were talking about like, it's like, are we going to be better off if we eliminate the Democrats? Well, no. It's like you need that pendulum to swing back towards the middle. You have to have that balance.
Well, let me ask you. I'll give you
too far to the extremes.
I want to give you one more name before I move it on. And I don't even know what side of the aisle he leans on, but I want to ask you, do you think this person is a globalist? Elon Musk. Very wealthy.
You know, I don't know where Elon, you know, because Elon talks about free speech. I think he's more of almost like a libertarian, the way he talks.
Not a globalist?
I don't think, well, I don't know. I don't know where his political views lie. I mean, because at the beginning, all the Democrats absolutely loved Elon. And then the second he bought Twitter and talked about like that he didn't like that they canceled out Trump, then everybody on the left hated him when they loved him in the beginning.
Didn't Elon Musk endorse Ron DeSantis?
That I don't know.
Yeah, I thought he endorsed Ron DeSantis. I mean, obviously bringing Trump back on it. Yeah, you're not gonna get a lot of liberal love doing that as well. That would be like complimenting Nancy Pelosi as a conservative. It's over once you do that. Hell, what is his name? Chris Christie, when he was governor, he just walked along the beach with Obama after Obama appointed FEMA money to hurricane victims from Hurricane Sandy, and the Republicans didn't like him for doing that. So,
I know.
Yeah, Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I
They
got to move it
hated
on
him for
there,
that. And
buddy.
isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? You're
Yeah.
supposed to put that shit aside, and you're supposed to be looking after the people who are suffering during a natural disaster like that and getting help. I mean, he got a lot of help from Obama from a natural disaster.
Yep.
And it's like he put his political views aside and said, hey, look, the people in my community are suffering right now. I need federal assistance. And Obama
they didn't
flew
like him
down
for
there
it.
and met with him.
Yep, and they didn't like it because he took the man's hand and gave him a hug. But Bionic Man, you know what I got to do, man. Appreciate you coming in. All right, good
Good
talk.
luck, man.
All
Hey,
right.
by the way, I just wanted to mention to you that yesterday, it seemed like you went to the Flat Earth Society and brought a bunch of the people back into your chat yesterday. I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell is going on, Tim?
Well, if you hadn't been listening to the whole program today, I had a couple of them in here. Listen, I do get QAnon folks. I do get far left folks. So you know what we do. But good talk, man.
Take care.
All right. Looking in the comments, Unskilled says Mr. Beast for president. You know, that guy is a juggernaut on YouTube. Isn't he the #1 YouTuber? I think he's worth, I think he's a billionaire YouTuber. So Mr. Beast for president, I don't know what he does outside of social media, but damn, is he not successful on YouTube. What did Obama do for blacks? In the comments, asked Jet Dari. In regards to what did Obama do for African Americans, many black people, particularly those from Chicago, would say he either did not do anything at all or he did not do enough. However, there is a strong counterpoint to make. Most of the folks suggesting that Barack Obama did little to nothing for African Americans are not African American, are not even liberal or Democrat. And the problem with that is simple. If Barack Obama had become president and started doing a hell of a lot of shit for, say, Chicago or African Americans, the complaint would have been obvious. We elected you as president of America, not president of black people, not the president of Chicago. And we would have suggested that he was corrupt for helping out specifically black people. Some would have referred to that as being racist, or maybe even asked the question, if George W. Bush or Ronald Reagan got in power and started doing things specifically for white people, you guys would be complaining. You would have Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton protesting. But for some reason, when Barack Obama gets in there, all of a sudden, folks that are totally critics of Obama are asking, what did he do for black people? Knowing that if he had done things for black people, they would have been first in line to criticize it. Kind of falls under the phrase, I think it's referred to as damned if you do, damned if you don't. Anyhow, folks, I do appreciate you tuning in. As I say every day, you could be anywhere you want on social media, and the fact you tuned in to your boy, it's always an honor. 60,000 likes would have been a pleasure, but I am totally satisfied with 55,000. Nevertheless, as I say always around this time, like we always do about now, it is a lunch break live, and having said that, I do got to get my ass back to work. Appreciate you folks tuning in. I will catch you tomorrow. Democrats are still around.